Hello, today we're going to continue our discussion on pointers. What you should have already done and already completed is watch the video on pointers behind the curtain. This video expands on that. In pointers behind the curtain, we discussed pointers, how to create pointers, what dereferencing is, and the like. In this video, we're going to specifically talk about pointers and arrays. So, we will start with our memory view first. Remember, we have pointers to integers. That is specified right here in purple. So we have an int pointer 1 and we have an address of 200. So int pointer 1 is pointing to the address of 200, which is right here. In the address of 200, we have the value 16. If we set the pointer value to 100, as in this case, now int pointer 1 is pointing to the 0th element in int2 array. Notice that each integer in the array is 4 memory locations away from the last. Thus, the first integer in the array is at location 100, the second is at 104, the third is at 108, and so forth. Now with doubles, we have a different situation. Here is a double array. If we start again at 100, each integer in the array is 8 locations away from the last. So the 0th index of double 2 array is at memory location 100. The second index of the array is at memory location 108. The third is at location memory 116, and so on. As in this case, if int pointer 1 is pointing to 100, that can't be. That this would cause a compilation error. So this can't be. Let's just set this back to 200. So this is a valid pointer now. Int pointer 1 is pointing over to the location of int 1. And double pointer is pointing to double array. Let's go to some code. Here is the code we looked at when we were discussing pointers in behind the curtain. I have extended this code beginning at line 60 here. This section of code will look at how we deal with arrays and pointers. And then beginning at line 80, we're just going to briefly talk about doubles and mainly discuss and show how each double in this array is 8 memory locations away from the previous. So I'm going to start this code. I'm going to move the execution window to the right so you can see the execution along with the code. I'm going to progress until we get to the section on pointers. So, and array, the address of the array begins at 18F9A4. In pointer 1, as we can see on line 64, is pointing to an array. This command right here on line 64 defines in pointer 1 to point to the address of an array. We could see that in pointer 1 is identical to the address of an array. And an array sub 0 is equal to the value of the address pointed to by int pointer 1, which we call dereferencing. So int pointer 1 is pointing to the first element, which is the 0th index, and an array sub 0 are the same. So what does star int pointer 1 plus 2 equal? Okay, remember, star in front of the variable means we are dereferencing, meaning that we are getting the value at that pointer address. Int pointer 1 is at the start of the array F9A4. So we are not adding 2 to int pointer, we are adding 2 integer memory locations away to where int pointer currently points, a total of 8. So where should we point? We should point to this value right here. I will press return, and we see that we are pointing to 6. Now, if we add 3 to int pointer, where do we point? Now, int pointer is pointing to the 0th element. If we add 3 to that, we are adding 3 integer locations away. So 1, 2, 3. So we should be pointing at the 4th element in the array. Let's see. The 4th element is 18F9B0, and array sub 3, which is the 4th element, is 18F9B0, and the values are the same. Now we will look at doubles just to show you that we're going to be looking 8 memory locations away. I want to call your attention to this syntax on line 85. Notice I have double space star double pointer, when previously I had int star int pointer 1. These two declarations are semantically the same, meaning they produce the same results. We are defining a pointer. This code from line 83 to 101 is just the repeat of what we did with the integer array, only to examine how double arrays are handled. I'm going to press continue here, and we are going to examine some of the values in the double array. Once again, we start at location 0. We are going 2 locations away, so the next output should be 6.2. We were at 6.2, and if we add 1 to double pointer, where do we point? Okay, this is the second element. Remember, let's look at double pointer 1. That was pointing to F940. Double pointer plus 1, remember, is going 8 memory locations away, because a double requires 8 memory locations. So if we are currently at 18F940, the second element in the array should be 18F948, and indeed it is, as we can see right here on this line. And the value is 4.1. This concludes the video on pointers and arrays.